Hi, I'm Mitch Rossell. Blast off to the music universe.
You know, buddy, it is my favorite thing in the world as a journalist to find an artist and follow them.
Mhm.
An artist you really enjoy and follow them as they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Happened with Chapel Hart. It's happening with Warren Zeiders, and it's happening with our guest today. And I think we're going to continue to check in with him throughout his career. But this is a really cool point in his career. He just wrapped up on America's Got Talent. He keeps 50,000 people in the palm of his hands as an opener for Garth Brooks. I'm talking, of course, about Mitch Rossell.
Oh yeah, man, he's got some powerful songs. I mean, he just gets up there with his guitar and he sings these songs that are true bone grit country music. If that's even a description of any type of music, that would be country because he gets you going. I mean, we talk a lot about his association with Garth Brooks because he wrote songs for him and just how he's making that path of his own now with being on America's Got Talent and opening for Garth and on multiple occasions, especially throughout his most recent run, the stadium tour. And he's just got some great songs. I mean, he is a true country music singer-songwriter. I'm excited about what's ahead for him.
Me too. Me too. And what's really cool, and I'll talk more about this when we come back from the interview, is he gives us an overview of how they've modified the seasons so that as soon as you go to the live show, it's not the quarterfinals anymore, it's the semifinalists. So semifinals. So even though he got only two rounds in the auditions and the live show, he's still technically an America's Got Talent semifinalist, which carries a lot of weight in entertainment. So, without further ado, our interview with Mitch Rossell. Mitch Rossell, America's Got Talent contestant, a recording artist, Garth Brooks opener. Man, we've been following you for years, and it's finally sort of bubbling up to the surface for you. Love to see it. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good overall. How about you?
We're great. We're great.
Doing well.
First off, we're sorry about you getting eliminated. That just wasn't fair because you had all the Garth fans pulling for you, all of your fans too that you've cultivated over the years. So just let's start out. Let's talk about the overall experience from audition to the live shows. How was that for you being on AGT? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Everybody on the crew and the staff were super nice, and some long days, long weeks for sure. But it was a lot of fun. Kind of cool and weird, and uh, pretty neat to see yourself on TV. And yeah, overall, great experience, and glad I reached some new people.
Yeah. Like Matt said, we've been following you since Ask Me How I Know went to number one, and you made
Yep.
history with that. How has from the obvious? How has your life changed from that from Garth? Discovering you in that bar to now.
I'd say pretty drastically. Yeah, I was playing for tips back then and had really nothing going, and was starting to question whether I even wanted to keep doing it or if I was supposed to be doing it. And so that was really a big turning point for me, as you can imagine, and really put a lot of self belief back in place, and gave me not only the belief side and the music side, but also just the living side. I had a kid on the way, my first son, and it absolutely made it where I could pay the bills, and far from rich, like a lot of people probably think if you write a hit song, but definitely helped to kind of take that pressure off a little bit and give me a little bit of stability.
Yeah, and now that you've
Yeah.
done America's Got Talent, I know you auditioned with Son, which I believe was inspired by your dad and being a father yourself. Tell us what made you choose that song to audition with.
That was really the reason I auditioned. If I'm being honest, I've been asked to go on the shows probably almost every year for 10 years or so, different ones, and I just never felt like it was the right fit for me. Um, and just my style, it
Mhm.
just didn't really fit that for me at the time. But this year was different. When AGT reached out, it felt like I really, number one, wanted that song to be heard. That was the biggest motivation for me. I didn't really think about anything past that. And then I thought of all the
Mhm.
places to do it, I felt like AGT was the one that I was the biggest fan of. I've never claimed to be a singer. I'm not going to get up and do karaoke and just blow you away with some crazy vocal ability or anything. I can sing on key, and I can, hopefully people like my tone and all that. It's all preference, I guess, but never consider myself a vocalist. I'm an artist. I write, I sing, and I play. And when you put them all together, that's me. That's Mitch Rossell. And so I felt like that gave me that platform at AGT gave me the best chance to be myself. And thankfully, I was right about that because they really encouraged me to do the songs that I believed in, and so it worked out really well.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. I've wondered about your decision to say yes to the crazy idea of we're going to take this guy, he's building his career, we're going to put him on stage at first in front of 17,000 people with just his guitar. Then, over the last 3 years, COVID notwithstanding, we're going to put him on stage in front of 40,000 people as they're entering a stadium in broad daylight, and he's going to wow them. And I had the chance last year to see 10 times you win over new fans, have fans return, have fans have signs with you. I mean, what inside of you said, yeah, I can do that. Just me and a guitar. I mean, because I think Garth says you're crazy. He says you are the gutsiest entertainer he knows for even agreeing to that idea. So, talk about the decision to just go for it.
Yeah, I think the first time around, it was more his idea the first time around, and I'm not sure the motivation for it, but I had played so many gigs, for so many years, cutting my teeth downtown. I mean, I played on Broadway for almost 6 years, hundreds of gigs, and so I was pretty comfortable with an acoustic guitar. But of course, you go in front of that many people, and there's a lot of things that are not so comfortable anymore. That first show in Vegas was extremely nerve wracking back in 2016. But at the same time, I think that all those hours I'd spent on a stage learning to entertain people with just an acoustic guitar really served me well. And then fast forward to the stadium tour when he asked me to come out. I don't know. I don't know if I've told this story publicly or not, but he came to me and he said, "Hey, I really, I know you kill it acoustically, but I think stadiums they're different. I think you need to get your band and let me know how many guys and how we can help you get everything squared away." And back when I first met him, I would have just said, "Okay, you got it." I would have done exactly what he said and never even pushed back. But he's become a buddy, and I know he respects me, and he knows I respect him, and he's become someone that I can talk to about anything, and I feel comfortable telling him anything. And so I just kind of piped up and said, "Hey, look, if you really feel strongly that you want me to do that, of course this is your tour. I'm not here to. I'm just grateful to be here. But if you're okay with it, would you be okay with me trying it just acoustically one time?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. It's your funeral." so, nice little nice little boat of confidence going out of the gate there, and I just started cracking up, and even my manager thought I was a little crazy. He thought I was a little off my rocker, kind of volunteering to do that. But my whole premise with the whole thing is, look, most of these people don't know who I am, and if I go out there with an acoustic guitar, I feel like it immediately kind of commands your attention because you're going, this guy's an idiot, and you're going to listen to me for just a second, and I believe in the stories I'm telling in my songs, and I believe in what I'm doing. And so I think if you'll listen to me for just a minute, I feel like I can win you over, and
Mhm.
I know I probably obviously don't win everybody over, but I
Mhm.
feel like I won most people over. And I think a lot of it was maybe the respect they had for me to get up there and do that. And so I feel like for me, it was a psychological thing. It kind of disarms people a little bit to get them to listen. And then also I think it allows the music to cut through the clearest and the cleanest. When you don't know a song, you can't sing along. You've heard bands open for different acts, and you can't hardly understand the words most of the times.
Right.
And so I felt like, I'm a storyteller. This is what I love to do. I love to write songs and tell stories. And so this is the way for people who have never heard me before. They're going to hear it pure. They're going to hear every word, and they're going to get to follow along with the lyrics and all that stuff. And so it was kind of a two-part reason for me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Despite
Very,
not
very smart.
being able to move forward beyond where you went with America's Got Talent, I mean, you won over everybody. Standing ovations, tears in everyone's eyes. I mean, I watched it, and I didn't get to watch it live, but I was watching the videos. As even prepping for this interview, but I had seen it already. I wanted to rewatch it, and tears were in my eyes, kind of getting teary eyed talking about it. And the judges, my God, I mean, Howie said you were the act to beat, and he also predicted your songs would be number one on the country charts the next day, and they were. I mean, you won over the judges. I mean, that had to be probably the most nerve wracking of them all.
Yeah, definitely. I was certainly, at the end of the day, if I'm being completely honest, the people are what matter the most to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't necessarily going out there to try to win over the judges, but anybody who tells you they don't care what the judges think is just, I think they're just lying. I mean, we all want to be appreciated and respected for our art. And so I think when you have people like them who have seen a lot of different acts and a lot of different talent come through and they're that complimentary to you, it meant a lot. It really, it was very, really cool to hear some of those things they had to say.
I don't know if they're doing wild card, but I hope they bring it back or involve you in the Vegas show somehow. I think because I think yeah, you didn't go far, but I think you certainly connected more with the audience than most acts that only get as far as you got, if that makes sense. You connected like a semifinalist, even though you only made it through one live show, which I think is just, well, we can get into my opinions another time. But um, yeah, I really would love to see you return and have kind of a second chance because I think it is, as much as it's about the judges, it's about the people. And I think you were one of the acts that the people really responded to this season.
Thank you, Matt. I actually, they changed the format of the show. I guess I wasn't super familiar with the format, but I guess technically I was a semifinalist because now all they do is one live round and then it's the finale. So if I had gotten through uh, the other night, I would have gone to the finale. Which I've heard about this wild card thing. I didn't know what that was. Uh, there's apparently been a lot of chatter online. My team has been sending me stuff where people have been apparently pretty upset that I didn't make it through, and I saw some of it. I was pretty flattered by the amount of people that were kind of chiming in on all the different AGT posts, and of course, look, I think Lavender and Adrian were amazing, and I think they deserve those spots. And so I don't, necessarily think that I should have been there any more than they were, but it was just neat to see everybody, all these people coming in and saying nice things about me and wishing I'd made it through. So pretty cool.
Well, definitely congrats on where you went with it. And now you're signed with Dreamcatcher Artists, and a radio edit of All I Need to See is impacting country radio now. Tell us about that song, what inspired it, and how the label affiliation came.
Yeah, that song is very much I think if you're going to talk about the career of Mitch Rossell, you have to mention that song. It's my highest stream song, and it's a song that I don't think there's been a show that I've done in 3 years where somebody hadn't requested that song. It just, for some reason, people just gravitate towards it. So I always say, anytime we're going to get a choice to do certain songs, we have to do that one because it's undefeated. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't ever lose. And so I feel really good about Dreamcatcher's belief in it, and making a radio edit and going to radio. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully that journey treats me well, and I'm excited to talk with radio and just see where it all goes. But yeah, that song, I wrote it a couple months, maybe a month. I don't know. It was shortly after I met my wife, started dating her, and I was just really inspired. I didn't even really know her that well yet. I just kind of made up a bunch of stuff, and I tell people it's really cool. I almost
Wow.
prophesied because it literally became our life, and we've kind of lived all those moments and those images in that song, and so it's really special to me for that reason too.
Besides having all these defining career moments, in December of last year, you made your Opry debut, and Garth actually introduced you with a surprise introduction. I mean, how surprised were you really?
I was pretty shocked, honestly. I mean, look, of course, it crossed my mind the possibility of him doing something like that because it's just
Hmm.
Garth. Like anybody who knows Garth knows that he is just the man. He is the classiest, most considerate, most thoughtful. Just goes out of his way more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And I could get off on a whole tangent about like some of the media stuff around him and people hating on him and stuff. It drives me crazy because if you knew him, if you spend time with that man, like I'm telling you, you would love him. Like I'm telling you, he's just an amazing human. And so, anyways, all that to say, I didn't realize at the time. I would have thought he introduced several people over the years. Apparently, that was the first time he ever introduced anybody
Oh
in the
wow.
Opry, which is just even more insanity. Like I don't know. There's so many things around Garth that I feel so undeserving of, but man, I am grateful. Doesn't even begin to describe it. Something nobody can ever take away from me, or some of those moments and those historical things I've gotten to be a part of because of that man. So
Yeah, I mean, he's recorded four of
Well,
your
and
songs
and
too. You
you
know, we mentioned "Ask Me How I Know," and then "That's What Cowboys Do All Day
mm,
Long," and "Dive Bar," all being released as singles.
yeah, incredible, crazy
Yeah.
ride, man.
and all doing really well. I mean, Ask Me How I Know is arguably the biggest single of his comeback. So talk to me about we've talked about you being a performer and all that, but you said you're an artist, singer, songwriter. We'll talk about the songwriter for a second. How does it feel to have the biggest single of a legacy artist like Garth's comeback for his career? I mean, what does that mean to you personally?
I think that for me, it means everything. I think for me, I do look at my career a lot of times as two separate things. I have a songwriting career and I have an artist career, and then they also collide because I write most of my own stuff, and all of my own stuff to this point. But for me, Garth is the reason I'm in Nashville. He's been my favorite artist since before I moved to
Mhm.
Nashville. I've got video proof of that. Like 5 years before I even met him. So there's no better storybook ending for me as a songwriter than having your favorite artist cut a song that you wrote by yourself, take it to number one, and it be his only number one of his comeback. Was a song that I wrote, and yeah, you can't even. I couldn't even. If you told me to write down the dream scenario, I would fall short of that. If you told me to write it up, so it's mind boggling. It's just a credit to continuing to show up, continue to be who you are, and trust that what you're doing is the right thing because it's what you feel. And ultimately, above all that, just trusting that God put it in your heart for a reason. You got to trust Him.
Also led you into recording with his wife Trisha Yearwood last year with "Ran Into You." She was actually on your song, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, she
Yeah.
was. Yeah, that was an amazing experience.
But
She's pretty unreal.
Yeah.
holy cow, that voice.
Yeah, yeah, and she's
You
pretty
know,
dang cool too.
it's
She's
exactly
hilarious.
what he says.
Yeah, she's one of the funniest people I've ever
Yeah.
met. Sweet, just I call her. We joke that she's my Nashville mom, so she hates it in a way because she doesn't want me to sound like I'm calling her old or something. But we have a little running joke about that, and she's taking me in like family, and just I love them both to
Yeah.
death.
Well, we love you, Mitch Rossell. You are perhaps one of the most genuine people working in country music today. You deserve everything from the adulation of the 1750,000 people in stadiums with just you and a guitar and just you and a guitar on national television. Big, big things continue to be ahead. Thank you so much, Mitch. This was a pleasure to talk to you again. Thank you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for believing in me for so long, and thanks for your time as always.
Oh, absolutely. Before we let
Of
you go,
course.
I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't ask if an album is coming.
Yeah, I think eventually, definitely is. I have enough music for about 10 of them at this point. So
Oh
there's
wow.
so much stuff I've been holding on to for years and just stockpiling because I wanted to make sure I had the right window, the right opportunities, the right base, and I think now with signing this deal with Dreamcatcher, hopefully things will progress, and we can start releasing some albums. That's the goal, because that's what I want to do as an artist. Is release albums. Singles are great and they've served a purpose, but I've got a lot of songs that aren't necessarily singles that I feel like I want the world to hear, and I want my fans to hear, and so excited for that possibility, hopefully soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Mitch, and looking forward to seeing you out there again on the road and picking up your album whenever it does finally drop.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much.
So he said something interesting about America's Got Talent that I kind of want to touch on, because I think it puts the acts. My opinion is, this is not Mitch's opinion. This is my opinion. It puts the acts in a tricky position. We were talking yesterday about how 55 acts made it to the live shows. Mm-hmm. But then to call that the semifinals, I think, does a disservice, because what happens is you only see them once, and then a month later or 2 months later, they come back around for the finale. So, yes, they've improved the winnowing process, and now you get to call yourself a semifinalist. But when you're in a field of 55, it's a little bit too crowded, I think. And I think somebody like Mitch will do really, really well if the judges, or there's a fan wild card that can bring him back, or if they get to see him in Vegas at Superstars. I just think he's absolutely incredible, and the AGT fans definitely want more of him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said in the interview with him, and those who've seen the performances, standing ovations, he just awes everybody. Like, you could hear a pin drop through his songs when he's playing solo, just because everybody's just so awestruck by his performance, and he's got wonderful stage presence. I mean, he's a superstar in the rising years ahead. I mean, I hope this being on America's Got Talent skyrockets him faster than anyone's ever become, because he deserves that. And I really am glad we got to chat with him.
Yes, he was fantastic. Well, for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy. Thanks for listening and watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share on our social media at The Music Uni, and check us out at themusicuniverse.com and tmupod.com. Take care.